All right, hello everybody out there. Today I'm going to be kind of demonstrating my new pedestal build, which has a 50-inch LCD rotated sideways, and it's running COINOPS vertical. This is the Legends build. Now they have different builds, but I think the Legends build is the only vertical build that I've seen, because they do have one that's for light guns, etc. But most of them are just literally horizontal, not vertical builds. So this one's a vertical build. I love it because of the way that they have everything set up. When I say that, they have the high scores enabled. I don't know if you've seen it earlier. You could rewind and see my high score on there that says boo. So they got high score saves enabled. They have the scan lines on there. If you're playing a game and the CRT comes up, and usually when it's off or black, you can see like the scratch marks on the CRT. I love that. It's got the scan lines built into it. The bezel is got some curvature to it, so it really gives it more of a authentic feeling for the arcade play. My RGB buttons are running, you know, with the Ledwiz and the software to make it for each game, but not all games are programmed in correctly. So some games will just light up with a whole bunch of different lights. Now this one's probably not going to light up correctly. When I say that, it just lit up all three buttons with white lights because it hasn't been put into the colors in controls file. But if it is, then it'll speak it, and you can dictate what colors you want to have on your buttons. I have an exit button kind of hidden right here, but the vertical screens, damn, they are giving you approximately, I'm just going to speculate, somewhere in the range of 35. No, it's about 38 inches on this 50-inch screen. Now, of course, that's 38 inches minus the artwork for the marquee. I believe it should be somewhere in the range of 31 inch for verticals, or excuse me, horizontals. Now if you notice, this one's lighting up correctly, but in the controls file it doesn't have like punch, kick, jump, etc. So that's why I didn't speak it. Yeah, so this one's giving approximately a 30 inch. So 30 and 38 inch respectively for horizontal. And I did have to change my configuration to have up and down set to change letters instead of changing themes, because before up and down would change it to favorites and horizontal games and beat 'em ups or whatnot. And there is a control file that you can change to make up and down be your letters to navigate. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit, which my volume is only through the HDMI going to the TV. Finally. I tried on my older builds to get the scan lines activated, and I could not figure out how to get those activated. So having this with the scan lines, the scratch marks, and everything else, I love these little scratch marks. And the CRT screen is like brighter right here. It gives it really an authentic feeling. He got a punch on me. I like going for those double uppercuts. So yeah, let me kind of show off a little bit more of the actual pedestal. So I did comically, well, first off, this artwork for the control panel is actually a color changing from green to purple to bluish, and you can only see it in the right light, which I'm trying to find, which I'm kind of finding now. It's going to look more purplish over here and more green over here, and you can see how it's kind of changing as I'm moving. But I made a mistake of trying to do an epoxy pour, and it was my first epoxy pour, which made it worse. And I'm going to start a game so that way hopefully I don't have to talk over the volume. But I tried an epoxy pour, which was, the idea was to have this whole thing epoxy poured, so that way I wouldn't have to cover up the holes that were in the original CPO, or control panel layout I should say, or the plexiglass from the original, because this is the plexiglass from the original. And buying new plexiglass would have been an option for me if I would have known how to cut this circle out perfectly. But that is what I wanted to keep the original for, because I figured I would not be able to cut this out clean and I would end up like sad about it. So the epoxy pour was interesting, but it made a mess and it didn't work out, and I had to remove it all. It was just a horrible mess. I would not ever recommend ever trying an epoxy pour to replace plexiglass. But these stickers are hiding some of where the buttons were, and you can kind of see through where this was an old button here, there was an old button here, an old button here, an old button there. So it's just hiding those blemishes. I didn't hide this one because it's just too small, and if I had a sticker there, it would be fighting with me. And figures that I picked a game that was noisy as hell. But
attack, jump, insert coin.
And The monitor stand that I got was like an Amazon purchase, and this can go a lot higher, but what I did was basically mount it to the bottom there, so that way it's up higher, it's in closer, and although this figures all games are probably going to have loud previews, so nevertheless, this is, I'm going to call it recessed, but it's below the control panel by a few inches. I'm just going to say 4 or 5. And the reason being is, as I'm standing up myself, I can see about the same angle as what the TV is. As I sit down, this is literally the angle that I am sitting at. So it's plenty tall enough. I did not want to make it taller so that way I could just see, you know, between the monitor and the stand. So this is a great height. When I say that, there was an original thought that I had of getting a 55-inch TV, because the wider, like this would then be closer to here. But I'm glad I did not, because right now I feel like this is just a little bit tall. I mean, it's not bad, you know, like looking at it, even from a horizontal games or vertical games, it's not bad, but it is definitely tall. So getting a 55-inch would even be taller, so I'm glad I did not go that route, because this is definitely still huge. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and just click start. So it just did say insert coin, and that was about it. And for what it's worth, I love the spinner. Not really thrilled with this Tron style joystick yet, because I haven't found enough games that it's useful for. My exit button. My exit button. Funny. Figures right as I go to demonstrate the exit button. Oh, so I got my exit button set up, but it will not exit the app. So even though I exited, I thought I was still in the game because the video was showing the preview for it. Down right here, I actually have my keyboard just laying here, but the power button is right here, and that can power off the game. Which powers off pretty quick. Definitely faster to power off than to turn on, because Windows takes a minute to boot up on this system. It's not the super fastest, but it's not super slow. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you got any comments, feel free to leave them below, or questions.